Good morning, everyone. It's Curly K here, and we are going to get right into today's free trade idea for Thursday, March 20th. So as you can see on my screen, I am looking at Adobe. I want to just go ahead and get a good view of what we have going on Adobe's chart. Looks like we're pretty oversold on the RSI. We have some changes on the histogram with the MACD. Let's go ahead and just chart this thing out. So I must say that it appears as if Adobe is in a wedge right now. This is actually one of my hated setups whenever there's a wedge pattern that has presented itself. However, we are getting to the convergence of that particular wedge where it's starting to contract in reference to price action. So, what do we have? On the daily time frame, it looks as if we have an inside candle, so we can mark the low of that particular candle, and this is going to give us our put entry. So let's go ahead and knock that out. And then the high is going to give us our call entry. And this is a technique that is based on the strat. So if you're not familiar with that, I do have a video that covers the strat on my channel. I actually have two videos. All right, so we do get an earlier entry off of the 4-hour time frame, which basically means that the contract will be cheaper if you decided to get in from off of the 4-hour if we do break to the upside. But of course, as always, we wait for structure to present itself before we hop into anything. We do not have any directional bias. We wait for market structure. And also, if you're unfamiliar with what market structure looks like, I have a video on my channel for that as well. All right, so now we have our put entry mapped out. We also have our 4-hour call entry and our daily entry. So now we need to know what our magnitude is going to be. So let's do that. All right, so it appears that to the upside, we're looking at 401.66. And actually, let's look at something else because we do have an earlier entry off of the 4 hours. So let's see. All right, so with that earlier entry off of the 4 hour, we're looking at 401.38. And that will be our ATR target to the upside. And then let's mark out our price targets, which are essentially areas that you can consider taking profit along the way. All right, and then let's look at the downside. So for the downside, we will be looking at, let's see here. All right, so we're looking at, for the downside, 373.73. And let's map out our price targets. Okay, so for Adobe, let's talk about the contract. So obviously your targets, your ATR targets, it's going to basically illustrate to you your magnitude. So you want to stay within that particular boundary. So you can choose anything in the money up to that particular point. And so for the upside, we will be looking at in the money. So you can choose any contract that's in the money, but your stopping point needs to be 400, okay? And then to the downside, you can look at any contract that is in the money and your stopping point needs to be 375. So in the money to 400 for calls, and then to the downside in the money to 375 for puts. All right, everyone. So if you want to see more of these videos, please be sure to engage with me on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend or family member. I hope to see you in baggage claim and also follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well as Threads just to track the performance of these trades. Have a blessed day.